Hi, everyone. I'm Kristen Castillo. I'm VP of Insights at trend forecasting firm Trendera. Thanks so much for joining today. We're just going to talk a little bit about trends, what we do, how we do it, and talk about a few macro shifts we're seeing right now. Our specialty is trend forecasting, and what that means is we study culture at the holistic level and interpret that and translate that for our clients. We do a lot of consulting and agency level work, but it's really this specialty in trend forecasting and generational trends that sets us apart. We do a lot of different types of work, a lot of research, and it really is a blend of art and science. So the science is obviously where the numbers come in. We do quantitative and qualitative research pretty regularly. We also like to stay up to date on what other people are doing in different industries. Just the more information that we have, the better. And also, clients really feel like they need numbers to stand behind. In our data-driven age, it's nice to be able to prove something is happening. But that said, we're also in the business of predicting trends and anticipating them. And so those, by their very nature, are harder to really capture with data because they haven't fully emerged and realized themselves yet. So we try to do as much research as we can on them. A lot of our cultural analysts at Trendera, we kind of consider ourselves cultural sponges. So we just try to immerse ourselves in everything that we can, watching TV shows, reading books, going to trade shows, just talking to people to develop that understanding. I myself am a millennial, and I think our generation, the expectation is, oh, if someone sends you a text, definitely respond by that day. A couple hours is great. For this next generation, Generation V as we like to call them, they expect a response within 5 minutes. So by putting their message on Do Not Disturb mode, you're pretty much guaranteeing that you're insulting them by being rude and dismissing their message. Let's talk a little bit about the state of trends. So what is a trend? Trends are a reflection of reality that forecast the future. They're catalyzed by human needs or a change within society. The difference between trends and fads often depends on how significant the underlying emotional need underlying it is. I will say that as we are in a social media age where information is just spreading like wildfire, and we're really in an age of virality, true trends are so shortened that they almost feel like fads now. It's really hard to get long-lasting trends like we used to in the past. Trends were often created by kind of a cultural elite of sorts. Industry experts, fashion houses, magazine editors, etc. These people weren't accessible. We didn't see the behind the scenes of their everyday lives that we're so used to seeing now thanks to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, etc. So they're the ones kind of creating the trends. Now, trends are everywhere and created by everyone. There are definitely people who are still experts and super influencers in society. Oftentimes they don't view themselves that way, but there are people who truly just want to be doing something original for the sake of being original. But the real differentiator now is social media and the role of the popularizer. So it's now become a form of social currency and social capital to have new information that you can share with your friend group. We're kind of seeing this power of trend setting and creation being democratized. Now everyone with a following on social media has the power to create and disseminate trends. And so we're always having to kind of refresh our strategy and look for more and more unique sources for trends because there's not one place that they're coming from anymore. Everyone's now an expert. Everyone can be a trendsetter. You just have to find the right audience. Social currency is capital. Trends are now cool. It's cool to be at the forefront. Everyone wants to get to that new thing first and share it with their friends. We're consuming trends more rapidly than ever before. So if you're not doing something right now, if you're not creating something right now, you just aren't relevant and top of mind. And that's just the reality of it. We're also excited to talk to you guys a little bit about new culture creators. We finally reached peak millennial, and we're kind of tired of them. So now we're looking towards the next generation, who are now teenagers, Gen V, for their new ideas to be handed up to us. And then finally, this insatiable demand for new. And really, this is a scientifically proven phenomenon. Every time your phone buzzes, every time you check your email or refresh your Instagram feed, your brain gets a hit of dopamine, and it becomes a habit-forming loop that you just repeat over and over and over. Not that this is a bad thing, but it's just the reality. We just want new all the time, all the time. So let's talk about the future of influence. So as I mentioned before, millennials are not teenagers anymore. A lot of people will come to us asking for information on millennials thinking that they're teenagers, when really, depending on your definition, millennials are about 21 to 36 years old now. The youngest ones are just getting out of college. That's not to say they're culturally irrelevant by any means. They're still absolutely shaping the cultural narrative and are going to have more power as they have more earning power and kind of rise through the ranks at work. But really, the new and fresh ideas we're seeing are coming from the Generation Vs. You'll also see them called Generation Zs, plurals, the Homeland generation. We like to call them Vs for viral, because if something doesn't go viral, it just doesn't matter to this generation. So a few major shifts in influence, as I kind of alluded to earlier, just this power of now. Everyone is distracted, and there's so much information coming at us from all areas all the time. So it's really important, if you're not doing something, if you're not showing up in people's feeds, you're not relevant. And also kind of coupled with this is a fragmentation of influencers. For this new generation, we're not going to be having those A-list celebrities that's kind of a one-size-fits-all. You're not going to have the George Clooney's, the Jennifer Anistons, the Julia Roberts. These guys, they're almost like micro-celebrities. So it's no secret that we're living in an attention economy. And it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. If you're capturing people's attention, that is what matters. Forget the ascension of YouTube stars, and these guys are truly taking over. I think we're really beginning to realize as a culture that we are the ones giving these people the power. It's our likes, it's our eyeballs, our clicks, our views that are making these people relevant. So I think we're gonna see a big shift here in the next year or so about being a little bit more intentional with who we devote our attention to. And then just this concept of influencer. What is an influencer? I mean, it could really be anyone, and brands come to us all the time asking for help with this, and it's been like the Wild West for a really long time, and it's still a little bit kind of crazy to figure out, but it is becoming a little bit more standardized. And then this concept of just needing filtration and curation. There's so much being published every day. So we're relying on the websites we visit, the people we follow, to tell us what's important and what we should be listening to. And I think, especially in light of the election, it's really interesting that people are kind of now waking up to just how much they've kind of built their own little cocoons around themselves by, and the risks of potentially only exposing yourself to ideas that agree with your own. So fashion and retail. In these troubling times, I think it's easy to kind of dismiss fashion as something frivolous and something we should not focus on because there are so many bigger issues at hand. But we would disagree. I think fashion has a really great opportunity to be a change maker and to be a leader in facilitating connection and creation, and just, at the very least, making us just a little bit happier in the day-to-day. Along with kind of this viral takeover, we're seeing populism really infiltrate the fashion world. Another idea that we're really interested in is just this concept of access over ownership and how it's infiltrating the fashion world. We're already used to this, with transportation, with Uber, with Airbnb, and we're really starting to see it take off in apparel. I think as status symbols have shifted, it's no longer about stuff and what you have. It's about your freedom. Another thing that's going to be really important for fashion brands is just hyper-transparency. This has kind of grown from a marketing buzzword to just, totally expected from every single brand out there. I think Everlane's a really great example of this. So they introduced the concept of market pricing to fashion late last year. So they essentially created a cashmere shirt. Normally it retails for around $125, but in the vein of transparency, they let consumers know, hey, the price of cashmere actually fluctuates based on harvest and global demand, etc. We got it a little cheaper this year, so we're going to knock off $25 from the price of your sweater. And this is really revolutionary. Everlane does a great job at not only being a good brand, but they're also doing things well and kind of living their values. And we like to tell people that every brand, whatever you're doing, is now a lifestyle brand. If you check out the brands that are doing a great job on social media right now, they'll of course have pictures of their product, but they also have plenty of user-generated content, and they also have even more lifestyle content. I think it's just important to note the power that fashion has right now. There's so much in the world that's out of our control, but fashion is one thing that we can control. And what we wear and what we choose to buy sends a strong message about who we are and what we value, regardless of whether we're thinking that's what we're doing or not. That's even more pronounced within younger generations. Here's a snapshot of what's next, what we're keeping our eyes on. You know, velvet's not going away. We're anticipating more fur and feathers, bright colors, millennial pink, bra tops, sheer tops, patches, pins, pajama dressing, power suits, bold and exciting and fun. And now is the time to just own it and go with it.